Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited for everyone to come on in here and let's have this discussion about ladies. We are all planners, and I'm super excited because this is a conversation, whether we know it or not. This is a conversation we need to have. So, we're going to go ahead and get started here very shortly. I'm just going to wait on a few more people to join us and hope that in this conversation, you all will identify and resonate that yes, we are all planners. So let's go ahead and get started because I'm super excited about this topic and I definitely want to get your feedback and insight on this conversation as well. So, ladies, let's get started. Now, I know you may be wondering why I named it Ladies, We Are All Planners. And the reason for that is because I think we sometimes do not think about planning in the sense of how we categorize things. We don't think that some of the things that we think is planning is really planning. However, think about this. If I ask you right now, how many of you have already have plans for this weekend? Would you say yes? Okay. If I ask you how many of you all have plans for the holidays, you would say yes. If I ask you, do you have plans on what you're going to do in terms of New Year's Eve? Some of you all would say yes. Some of you all are still planning those events, right? Even so much as how many of you all have plans on where you are going to vacation. And let's not make it so big. Let's think about even small things. How many have plans to buy a new car? Or how many have plans to purchase a new home? All of these things are where we would call a person that likes to plan, even though we may not be necessarily planners. But if you think about it, it's a matter of planning, whether you think of big things or little things. We are all planners, women, ladies. As women, we are planners naturally, even though we don't sometimes think that we're planners. I think it's really in our DNA because if you think about it, we can plan a lot of stuff when we want to. We want to plan a birthday party, we can plan it. We want to plan a Sunday meal, we can plan that. We want to plan a vacation or a birthday gathering, we can plan that too, right? So we can plan because it's naturally something in us. However, we have to think about it as that's just how we're wired. And the reason why I bring that up is because oftentimes when we plan for things, we only think big things, but we never think the small things. Now, today's conversation is really to help understand that as we plan for the big things, we often neglect the small things. But let me tell you how in life we've actually been programmed only to plan for big things. Take case in point. When you go and you get a new car, or if you have car, um, or have a car rather, you have to go do what? Get a policy, right? You have to get automobile insurance. If you have a house, or even if you rent, you're supposed to get for a house, you're going to get what? Insurance. If you're renting, you get rental insurance. Why is that? Because you're planning in the event something were to happen, this policy or insurance is there for you, right? So that's what we are been naturally programmed to do. It's like, oh, okay, if our children play sports, we have to sometimes at the school take out a policy or sign some type of papers to say, okay, in the event of an accident, this is here. We think about these things, even though it's natural, we just do it and we just hurry up and get it done. But when it comes down to us thinking about it and really making it make sense in terms of our money, we stop and say, wait, I don't know if I'm ready for that conversation. But think about it, ladies. We are planners. We plan for everything. We plan for the dinners. We plan for our kids to have certain play dates and birthday parties. We planning for our weddings. We plan that to the T. We will plan that a year out. And you just think about just a wedding or those who want to get married. Think about all the books and all the things that you can be able to look up from a planning standpoint, and you can write down all the details down to the dress, to who's going to sing, down to the decorations, down to the tuxes and down to who's going to be the flower girls. Like it's books and books and all kind of different programs and things on apps, on paper, all of these different things for one day. And that's fun. I trust me, I did it. I get it. But when I ask, have we planned for your finances? People often look at me like, uh-oh, here we go again. And I'm saying to myself, why? Why are we so afraid to talk about our money or afraid to have that conversation? But we can plan for these other things. If I say, hey, let's plan for this trip. And I got some friend girls that will be like, I'm taking the lead. I'm going to plan the itinerary. We're going to know where we're going to eat, where we're going to get up, what we're going to do for the excursions. You know, we can plan all of the details, how we're going to go out, when we're going to go out, what time. And everyone likes to do that because it's fun. I get it. But then the one conversation, the one that gets really tough is this one because we don't want to talk about this because if we talk about it, we think that maybe sometimes it can happen tomorrow or we're I don't know. I don't know. But either way, we plan for everything else but our finances. Now, I get it. This is not a conversation we like to have. I understand that. But in the event of an emergency, we don't know what to do. But now, the thing that before we talk about the emergency is the difference between what I'm asking people to plan for and what you've already planned for is that you know that day is going to come, right? You know when the wedding's going to come, you know when the vacation is going to come, you know when the holidays or the New Year's Eve, you have dates for all of those different things. What I'm asking you to do is to plan for something that you don't have a date for. And I think that's really where it becomes a more of a scary situation because oftentimes we don't want to plan for that because that seems so far away. That seems like we got time for that. Like, I can deal with that later. But the reality of it is, do we have time or are we just thinking that when that time comes, we'll be ready. And in an emergency, we will be ready and then we can talk about it. But if you think about it, that that doesn't even make sense because we plan for if it was a wedding, we wouldn't plan for the wedding the day of the wedding. We wouldn't plan for uh, to go on a trip the day of the trip. We wouldn't plan for our birthday party the day of the birthday. But when it's an emergency, we want to plan then. So why do we do that? Like, I'm really honest. Like, let's really think about this. This is one conversation that we can plan, just like we give so much attention to the birthdays, the vacations, the holidays, our kids, and everything else, but we don't. And the reason why I say we don't is because, ladies, it really is on us because we are the ones that have the children. We're the ones that's responsible for them. We're responsible for no matter how big, if they have grown kids, if you have young kids, they're still gonna call mommy and mom for the answers, right? But we don't plan for an emergency in the event where if somebody is the breadwinner and we're, obviously still, mothers that take care of the things, or if not, even with us, we don't plan for us, but we plan for all these other things. So I'm asking you, when do you plan for these things or your money, your coins? When do you plan for these type of events? And again, I know it's not a popular conversation, but it's a needed conversation because we've seen emergencies throughout our families. We've seen emergencies through, obviously, this pandemic. We are seeing emergencies all around us, and yet we still sometimes brush this conversation under the rug. So we have to have this conversation. We really need to start really thinking about how do we plan for this? Where do we start? Now if you've had the conversation with your loved ones that you trust to have this with, or if you're like, I just don't really know where to start. Either way, we have to have it. Either way, it needs to be a conversation that you're having. Either way, it's something that you shouldn't put off. I'm just imploring you to say, stop what you're doing, have the conversation now, and then go back to planning everything else. Let's not make this where it's just simply a conversation where we're thinking we're going to have time, and you're, again, like me, thinking that at one point and in one day, you're going to be ready should an emergency occur. My story was I literally had this opportunity in the sense where my mother got sick. And when she had a stroke, I remember all of these things that went on during that emergency. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't know any of these answers. And yet time went on and she got better and everything was fine. And then 12 years later, she got sick again. And I'm like, I didn't plan for this because I didn't think that, this is a conversation I need to have right now. And maybe I did. Maybe I thought I had time to do that. The point is, I should have taken the time to have the conversation. We should have talked about it. We should have been having open conversations just to get it out in the way, discuss it, and move on. But as a woman, you have to think about your children. As a lady, the head of the household, whether you're married or single, you still want to be able to have this conversation because as a woman, we are built to plan. It's just a matter of what we want to plan for. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, you have renter's insurance, you have homeowner's insurance, you have car insurance. Why do you have all those insurance? Even if you think about your bank, they give you policies and things like that, but you have health insurance. Why do you do all that? In the event of an emergency, right? Great. The same thing and the same effort we put into that, we need to put into our funds and our coins to make sure that we're protecting them in the event of an emergency. We're knowing where they should go. We're telling our funds where to go, who should access this money, and to plan to make sure that it goes the way we want it to. It's the same thing. Think about it. I have if you have money in the bank, you need to tell your money where to go in the event of an emergency. You don't need the money to sit there and say, okay, I have money here. It can go wherever. Because if I asked you, hey, did you sign up to in the event of an emergency not be able for your family to use it or be able to access it, you'll tell me, no, of course not. But that's what we do when we don't have the conversation. We're simply telling our money, you know what? I don't care what happens to you. But now, I'll be honest. If you just don't really want to have that conversation and you just don't think it's something you really want to do and you really don't care where your money go, call me, DM me. I will be more than happy to help you out. And for those of you who do not know, I have two girls. They love lipstick and lip gloss and makeup and stuff. So they can help spend your coins. But now I jokingly tell you that because that's what you're doing is when you don't plan for it, you're telling me that you don't mind me getting that money. And of course you would say, obviously, I don't even know you like that. Why would I leave your money? Exactly. But when you don't have the conversation, when you're not talking to your family, when you're not literally knowing what should be asked for, and you're not having these type of conversations, that's what you're doing. You're literally saying, hey, you know what? I don't really care. Or I'm gonna have time and thinking that I'm gonna be able to tell them then. Because even though again, I'm not an attorney, I will tell you this is general knowledge. If you do leave and you don't have a will and things and people can't access it, the state gets your money. Now, people don't want that to happen, and I know you don't. So let's think about this as we gear up for this weekend. Let's think about taking a little time before we start on whatever it is that we're going to plan for, right? And let's really give ourselves some time to really understand that our money should be just as important as all of those other events. Because again, we are all planners. We just need to think about and focus on now planning our money and making sure it goes in the direction that we need it to go. We're growing our money, we're bossing up, we have businesses, we have all these different things. I am so excited for you ladies. Congratulations. I'm rooting for you. But I also want to make sure the same energy that you're doing for all of these different things, these businesses that you're starting, these side hustles, everything else, I also want you to make sure that you're planning that your money is protected. Okay. Now, I know you might be like, okay, this is good. Like, I need to, you're right. I need to get started. I know I need to do this. I was just talking to somebody about this. I was just asking somebody, what do I need to do? Like, I was just thinking that I need to start having this conversation. But how do I do that? Well, guess what? I created a resource tool for you. It's called the Coins Legacy Keeper, and it walks you through these type of conversations. Literally, it is spelled out for you. Here is the checklist that you'll walk through, and you'll actually walk through what you need in order to ensure that you're storing your coins and you're protecting it. Now, one thing that I'm going to be doing coming up very soon is that we will actually be having legacy virtual parties. And these virtual parties will hold you accountable to make sure that you get this book and get it completed. Because sometimes you need that accountability piece to ensure that when you get this tool, you'll be able to not just get it and just be like, okay, I'll get to it later. No, then you'll sign up for this class to make sure that we actually get it completed. Because it's one thing to get it, it's another thing to complete it. And that's what I really want to make sure that people do and you have to ensure that we're doing this all collectively. Because I'm here with you to help make sure that you're getting this done and you're getting it done to help make sure your family is protected. I didn't create this just for you to just get another, for someone just to sell you something. I'm getting this to protect your family. So if you definitely want to know more about this, you need to get this resource tool. Join me in getting one at www.mycoinsjournal.com. Click on the Coins Legacy Keeper tab. Get you a resource tool now because this is not something that we need to just keep putting off thinking we'll have time to do. This is something we need to do today. You definitely know that you're a planner. You know that you definitely want to be able to make sure that your family's taken care of. And you don't want to keep putting this off. Let me help you, ladies, by getting into this tool, joining our group, our Facebook group, making sure that you're a part of our group to ensure that your legacy and your coins and the things that you're working hard for is protected. So thank you so much for listening. I look forward to joining you all at our virtual legacy parties very soon. Click the link below to ensure that you this week will be a planner where now you'll be planning for your funds, your coins, and like everything else that you plan for, you'll make sure that this conversation is one that you'll have and you'll be supported around other young women and ladies who support and are just like you, looking to ensure that everything that they worked hard for is protected. And more importantly, in the event of an emergency, they have everything like they need already done where their family can access it. Or you can access it on behalf of your family. So, ladies, thank you so much. Glad to know that we have some more planners here. Glad to know that as planners, we're all going to be together planning for and stewarding our coins. So I look forward to seeing you all very soon at the virtual legacy party, the coins virtual legacy party, where we're going to have a great time making sure that our coins are protected. Okay, ladies? So thank you so much. Make sure you click the link www.mycoinsjournal. Excuse me, go to www.mycoinsjournal.com. Get you a copy today because that's how you get into the Coins Virtual Legacy Party. Okay. I look forward to seeing you all very soon at the party. Hope to see you all there. I'm going to plan for it. All right. Have a good evening and a good day. Bye bye.